Portsmouth under the lights at home park. We've seen this a few times before, but never in the Championship. Two of the bottom three in action tonight, points at an absolute premium. And these nights always get the blood pumping, and all the build-up is coming your way over the next half an hour here on Argyle TV. Portsmouth with just the one win all season, and Argyle, of course, looking to get out of a little dip in form. And as always, this is the place to be to follow the action. Hello, good evening. I am Erin Black, and you are watching Argyle TV. And I think it feels like a pretty big one here at home park tonight. Argyle's next two matches are against sides who were promoted from League One last season, so it's a big opportunity to get some positive results. However, as we know, it isn't always easy. Match passes, both audio and video, are going to be available for you over on the website right now. You just need to head over to pafc.co.uk to get all of the details, and you can join us for all of the action. And joining me for all of the action this evening is none other than former Argyle women's captain Katie Middleton. Katie, thank you for coming out in the drizzle and the dark on this Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's not the nicest weather, is it?
No.
But hopefully it will be a good occasion on the pitch tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there is always a little bit of a change of atmosphere in these nighttime games. We haven't had too many so far this season, and hopefully it'll bring maybe a new dynamic, which is what Argyle are looking for right now.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we're pretty good here under the lights, and you know, we're hoping for another similar performance that we've kind of got used to. With these evening kickoffs, you think back to the end of last season, one at the beginning of this season, which we've won both. So, yeah, hoping for a similar result for sure. And yeah, it's a big game tonight, one that we need to try and get something out of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game for multiple reasons. Some people, of course, call it the Dockyard Derby. We've also got the fact of where both teams are sitting in the table right now, and they're both really looking for that win, because Argyle haven't had the great away form, as we know. They certainly don't want to let that slip into the home form as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at our form here, I think we've only lost one of our last 9 games, which is, you know, a crazy stat really when you think about where we've been in the league towards the end of last season and obviously the beginning of this season. So, you know, like you say, it's a big occasion with both teams being in the bottom 3 at the moment. You know, Pompey will be looking to come down here and get a result, as we will be wanting to kind of stop that rot of the last 3 or 4 games where we haven't picked up a win. Yeah,
and it hasn't been the easiest of runs for Argyle for a variety of reasons, including, I think, one of the talking points this week, the continual kind of blight with injuries. Now we know that Sissoko is also going to be out for a little while as well.
Yeah, you know, Sissoko's been great. We've certainly missed him the last few games while he's been suspended. It's a big blow, you know, that we've had lots of injuries. Obviously, recently we've picked up a load more, and fairly serious injuries as well, where players are going to be out for a long time. So disappointing from that regard, but it's about how the rest of the squad kind of dig in together and try and get them through that period where potentially not all of your players are available. Portsmouth are in a similar situation as well this season, so yeah, it's all to play for tonight.
Yeah, well, let's have a look then at how Argyle are shaping up for this evening with some of those injuries. There are 5 changes from the last time that they came out, and in Argyle starting 11 tonight we have Dan Grimshaw, Barley Mumba, Jordan Houghton wearing the captain's armband, Julio Plegathuelo, Cornell Suge, Morgan Whitaker, Darko Jaby, Andre Gray, Rami El Hadj, Matthew Soranola and Freddie Isaka. And on the subs bench, Marco Morosi, Nathaniel Ogbeta, Ryan Hardy, Callum Wright, Michael Obafemi, Mustafa Bundu, Adam Forshaw, Caleb Roberts and Victor Palsson. Katie, looking at that lineup, Andre Gray, this is his first start so far. It will be interesting to see how, you know, whether he lasts the whole game.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's got 90 minutes in him yet. I think that was the big thing when we signed him. We knew he wasn't match fit. He obviously came on in the last game here, did really well for 30 minutes or so, obviously got himself a goal, which got us back into the game. So exciting to see what he can do from the start. He's a different kind of player to what we maybe have with Obafemi or Ryan Hardy. So, he gives you that presence to potentially be a target man if you need to have him as that.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily going to run in behind and run the channels like maybe a Ryan Hardy does, but like I say, interesting to see how he goes, and hopefully you can get maybe an hour out of him, and if he can get us into a good position when he goes off, then perfect.
Yeah, and of course Morgan Whittaker in the lineup, as we would come to expect. He's been on better form lately. He's got some goals in the more recent games. And I think a lot of people were worried he was having a slower start, but it's actually very similar to what we saw last season.
Yeah, I think with a player like Morgan, he set such high standards for himself since he's been here that if he's dropped slightly below that, everyone starts to kind of berate him a little bit. But he's that kind of player. He can be out of the game for long periods, but then he'll pop up and he'll score you a goal. He'll get you an equaliser, as he did here last time out, or the winner the time before. So he's that kind of player, and you need him to be fit and firing. And obviously rested him on Saturday up at Leeds. So we need Morgan to be on form, particularly while we've got other players out injured. So hopefully he shows the best side of himself tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Whittaker with the equaliser there from previous home game. I think we are both in agreement that we are looking for a nice, comfortable Argyle win this evening, because they have been pulling out these last-minute wins and equalisers that are so unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, your nerves are shot to pieces at the end of every game we have here, it seems. So, yeah, if we are comfortably ahead going into the 90th minute, that would be really nice, so we can all enjoy injury time instead of fretting about what might happen.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, this is the team to have that comfortable win against, but it never quite works out on paper, as we know with football.
Yeah, and you look at it, we went away to Cardiff, who were bottom of the league, and they beat us 5-0. So it doesn't always work like that. It's obviously still relatively early in the season, so a couple of points either way moves you up or drops you down a lot of places in the league. So if Portsmouth win tonight, they go above us. So yeah, like I said, it's all to play for. Massive 3 points. We want to climb the table and get ourselves out of that relegation zone. So hopefully we can put on a good performance here.
Yeah, well, as we've mentioned, it is Portsmouth that stand in our way for those 3 points this evening. So let's have a look at the team that they've put out, starting with Nicholas Schmid in goal, Jordan Williams, Connor Ogilvie, Regan Poole, Freddie Potts, Cassina Yengi, Tom McIntyre, Andre Dozell, Josh Murphy, Matt Ritchie and Callum Lang. And on their bench, Jordan Archer, Riley Towler, Marlon Pack, Mark O'Mahony, Christian Sadie, Owen Moxon, Samuel Silvera, Terry Devlin and Abdoulaye Kamara. There are a few names in that Portsmouth team, Katie, that are worth looking out for, but as you mentioned, they have been blighted with their own issues as well.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. I think I read somewhere earlier that they've got 12 players out through injury at the moment, so our situation's been fairly bad. I think theirs has potentially been even worse. So it's about how, with footballers, the squad pulls together. You will always get injuries in football, so it's everyone having that understanding of when they are thrown into the starting 11 that they know exactly what they've got to do, how the team expect them to play. It's obviously difficult when there are lots of changes. You lose that fluency and it becomes difficult. So it's the same for both sides at the moment.
I suppose of that lineup, Josh Murphy is probably one that we need to be looking at as a bit of a danger man for them.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's played a lot of games in and around this level. I think anyone who watched the playoff finals last year when he was playing for Oxford, I think it was man of the match against Bolton, and showed what he was all about. He's got pace, he's direct, and a player that can certainly cause Argyle's back four problems if we allow him to get on the ball and start running at us.
Yeah, they've got Williams back from injury as well, and I'm pretty sure it was Matt Ritchie who's just doing 2 back-to-back games now, which is unusual for him.
Yeah, I think it's been about 3 years since he's started back-to-back games. So, again, a player who's had a lot of experience, obviously played for Newcastle recently in the Premier League. played a lot of games for other teams in and around. So again, somebody who, if you allow him to have time on the ball, he's got a really good delivery off his left foot, which again can cause us problems if we're not at it. So, today is one of those games where you've got to try and get out and stop the ball, stop crosses into the box, and try and deal with that early. If you can do that and you can get your fullbacks playing nice and high, get their fullbacks going the opposite way, then it gives us a great chance and an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah, it's not a particularly exciting stat, but they are the only side to have conceded more goals than Argyle so far this season. Like I said, it's not great, but I suppose it does go in our favour a little bit.
At least there's someone worse than us at defending, so that's definitely a positive. But yeah, neither team will want to be having those stats thrown around, and I still don't think Grimshaw's kept a clean sheet since he's been in the side. So I think that's something that they'll certainly want to do better. The Preston game here, we were far too open, conceded far too many chances. So it's about being compact and trying to minimise chances as much as we can, and hopefully not make that stat any worse.
No, it would be nice to have that clean sheet this evening. You never know. There's always an opportunity for it. Maybe tonight is the night. But I mean, the main question is, how do Argyle get that win today? Well, Pete Shuttleworth has stopped in to talk to Charlie Price.
It is a bit of a rivalry, this game, only because of the last few seasons, us battling out for promotion in League Two and one with Pompey. The fans are always up for it. So that's no doubt a great thing, heading into this off the back of a defeat, that there is a bit of a feel around the game, as well as the importance to get points for the league position.
Yeah, I think that's been made aware to us, that the rivalry is there, and that obviously means that we're expecting a good atmosphere. I think both sets of fans will be eager to get one over the other, and it'll lead to a good evening under the lights at home park, with our fans supporting us all the way, which is always nice, particularly after being on the road on Saturday, to get back in front of them and playing a game that might have a little bit more of an added meaning than a normal game to them. So yeah, we look forward to getting back out in front of them on Tuesday.
Yeah, I suppose also, even at this early stage of the season, the fact that we're close to each other in the table adds a little bit of extra importance, I suppose, on the game, does it?
Yeah, I mean, every game, every game's really important. But yeah, looking at the league positions and everything, and a couple of games to go before the international break, where we, that league table stays, in the same place for a couple of weeks. It's important game probably for both teams to, get a win and head into the last game before the break with 3 points. So that's how we'll approach the game, as we do all our home games and most of the away games as well, where we go and try and win the game and get ourselves back going.
Well, they'll certainly need to show more of an attacking intent tonight. Katie, do you think the lineup that Rooney's chosen reflects that intention?
Yeah, I mean, there was always going to be changes after the weekend. I think the fans felt maybe that they almost sort of threw the game a little bit with the lineup that they picked. It was always going to be a difficult game going away to Leeds. Obviously, there was very minimal attacking intent, bearing in mind we had no shots at all in the game. So we're certainly looking for more from tonight, that's for sure. I think we've got the capability, we've got the players who can make things happen, and it's about showing that intent from the off tonight. The fans here want to see that attacking football. They don't want to see us sitting in and defending for 90 minutes. So hopefully we can get those important players on the ball in a bit of space, and they can show us what they can do.
Yeah, I know the Leeds game, ahead of it seemed pretty unattainable. Transpired that it was, and people were kind of hoping that certain players would be rested, ready to take on this game, which is a lot more of a equal playing field. Do you think that will hopefully benefit the side tonight?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly the aim, isn't it? Is that you rest your important players. The likes of Morgan Whittaker obviously didn't play at all on Saturday, so you look at that and you think he should be fresh. He's had a whole week and more to prepare for the game tonight, and you need those players to be on top form when you're playing in these big games that have a lot riding on them. So yeah, like I say, we've got the players with the capability. It's about getting them in the right areas at the right times, and them showing us what we can, or what they can do.
And of course, they're here at home as well, where we know they have fared well. And we've touched on it before. They've generated this energy where they can kind of pull anything off right up into the last minute. Do you think that atmosphere, that energy that they have created, we used to call it Fortress Home Park in previous seasons when we were doing a little bit better, do you think that helps the squad versus when they're away, and obviously Portsmouth being away here?
Yeah, massively. And I think Victor Paulson did an interview in the last couple of days, and he said exactly the same thing. You know, he sat on the bench a fair bit, and it only takes one goal to get the crowd right up, and we saw that in the Preston game. You know, you're 3-0 down, you know, Freddie scores, and then suddenly there's a little bit of belief that, you know, we seem to do ridiculous things here at Home Park, and you can be 3-0 down and still get something out of the game, or, you know, you're going into the dying moments, drawing, and you manage to you know, sneak a winner. We were talking about it earlier with that 7 minutes goes up on the board. You know, we all relax a little bit and think, I'm sure we can make something happen. So, yeah, they need to give the fans something to cheer about tonight, and if they can do that and get them on side early, then I'm hopeful of a positive result.
Yeah, we spoke to Brendan Galloway on the breakfast show at the weekend, and I asked him if time slows down almost when you get into that added time, and he said not if they're ahead, but there was this kind of absolute belief that they know more opportunities can come, you know, depending on wherever they are in the game. And I think that's a really good atmosphere and belief to have here at Home Park, because there are times where we certainly need it.
Yeah, and I think they've earned that because of the results we've had and the way we've gone about winning those results. You know, the last, you know, 3 of the last 4 games we've scored late goals. So as a fan, I'd much rather, like I say, it was comfortable going into that period of time, but you know, the fact that the belief is there and they feel like the game is never out of their reach is definitely a really good thing to have.
Yeah, early winner tonight, please, and thank you. 6 of Portsmouth 9 points have come away from home so far, which works in their favour. Manager John Messinho felt slightly aggrieved on the weekend to not get the win against Hull, and he'll be hoping they can pick up that 2nd win of the season here tonight.
Plymouth, not much to go off from the weekend, but what do you make of them so far this season?
Yeah, I disregard the weekend. I think that was a game that is completely irrelevant for tomorrow night. But at home, the games that we've watched so far this year, you know, have been a real threat. So I've watched a couple of Plymouth home games and their away game at Burnley actually, where they played really well and were a bit unlucky. And they were a really good side. Plymouth are a really good side. Take the lead position out of it. I think they've got threats all over the pitch. They play in a really good system, well coached, all very, very comfortable on the ball. They look to play, so we've got a real task on our hands.
Any areas you can perhaps look to exploit? Not that obviously you'll reveal anything to us.
Yeah, there always are. I think even with the best sides in the league, there are areas I think that naturally they're going to have weaknesses, and you know, Plymouth have shown that when they're on their game, they're really good, and if they're not, there's definitely areas we can expose.
And I can imagine with the sort of quick turnaround, it's the same squad to pick from.
Yeah, the same 21 we went to Hull with.
Just finally, it's a huge trek for you all today, and the fans will be making the trip tomorrow, so how much do we need them?
Yeah, we're going to need them exactly as we did at the weekend, and we saw a load of the fans at the service station on the way back on Saturday, which is always nice to bump into them after a positive performance. And there's a load of positivity within the fan base at the moment, and you know, the results, we need to pick up results, definitely need to pick up results, but I think the main thing for fans and any football fan, including myself, is to see a team, I think, that reflects them and reflects the city, and that's much more what we saw at the weekend. So we need to do a bit more of that at the weekend, because you know, we've got very, very proud fans that travel up and down the country ad infinitum, and we know they're going to do that again tomorrow night, and it'll be a good atmosphere.
Portsmouth have found it difficult so far, and the stats reflect that. Why do you think they're having such a hard time?
I think probably getting up to the pace of the Championship. There is a big step up between League One and the Championship, and you know, we found that last season when we got promoted. First season in the Championship, it took us a long time to get going. Individual players, it takes a while for them to get used to the pace of the game. And sometimes you can be kind of left behind in games. I also think they're quite a high pressing team. They want to go and try and press nice and early, and sometimes if you get that slightly wrong, teams will play through you and find you out pretty quickly. So, you know, it can be those fine margins of you go and press, you win the ball back high, great, but you know, if like I say, teams work you out and pick you off, it makes you really vulnerable. So yeah, a couple of reasons I think why they've struggled so far.
Yeah, and finally then, Katie, how do you see Argyle getting the better of them tonight? Is it exploiting, some of those factors that you've just spoken about?
Yeah, being positive on the ball, trying to get ahead early in the game, right from the off, trying to get at it. And I'm sure these players will show the fans tonight what we're all about.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. It's not long until kick-off now. We're pretty much ready to go. So just a reminder that you can get your match passes over on the website, pafc.co.uk. It's Charlie Price and Ian Stonebridge doing commentary for you this evening, and it is Argyle versus Portsmouth up next.